Good morning, students. Welcome to BSc2 4th semester Zoology online class. So today I am going to discuss on histology of liver. Histology of liver. In the earlier classes, we discussed different organs of alimentary canal. Today I am going to discuss on one of the important uh, gland of the alimentary canal is liver. So liver is essential for the digestion of fat that is there in our food. So liver is an exocrine gland. It is an exocrine gland, you know it. It has a duct called bile duct through which its secretion is secreted into the duodenum, where the food is mixed with duodenal, the bile juice. That bile juice is coming from the liver. So liver is the largest gland in the body. It is situated immediately below the diaphragm on to the right of the stomach. So liver is the largest gland of the body. So it is present just below the diaphragm, immediately below the diaphragm on to the right of the stomach. Right to the stomach it is present. So here you can see. So this is diaphragm. This diaphragm separates thoracic cavity from abdominal cavity. Abdominal cavity. So this is stomach. Right to the stomach liver is present. Just below the diaphragm. So this is what? Liver. This is liver. Dark brown in color. This is the largest gland in our body. And it is exocrine gland, not endocrine gland. It is very much essential in the digestion of food. Okay, this one is gallbladder, green color, gallbladder. Gallbladder, stores bile which is coming from the liver. So whenever it is required for the digestion of fat, the gallbladder is contracted so that a bile is entering into the duodenum through bile duct. So it is exocrine in function. It secretes the bile juice which is conveyed to the duodenum by the bile duct. So by the bile duct, the bile is conveyed to the duodenum. Next, the liver is also an organ of excretion. Yes, it is also an organ of excretion. It excretes, you know it very well, it excretes the bile pigments like bilirubin, biliverdin. Okay, so it excretes the nitrogenous waste present in the body. So nitrogenous waste are separated from the blood and it is converted into urea. That urea from the blood is separated by the kidney. So urea is formed in the liver. Urea is formed by the combination of ammonia and carbon dioxide that takes place in liver. So many substances are excreted from the liver. Therefore liver is also called as an organ of excretion. It plays an important role in removing the waste products, toxins, etc. Morphologically, it appears lobed and a chocolate or brownish in color. You know that it is chocolate or brownish in color. Okay. So on the inferior surface, there is a pear-shaped gallbladder. The liver of man is divided into 4 lobes. Liver of the man is divided into 4 lobes, namely right lobe, left lobe, quadrate and caudate lobes. Here you can see 4 lobes. This is left lobe. This one is left lobe. This is right lobe. Right lobe. So this one is caudate. Caudate. And this one is quadrate. Quadrate lobe. So thus there are 4 lobes in human liver. Human liver. And this is what? Gallbladder. Pear-shaped gallbladder. This gallbladder is used for collection of bile. So whenever bile is necessary, the gallbladder squeezes, it contracts. As a result, bile is poured into the duodenum through the bile duct. Bile duct. So anatomically, it consists of hundreds of units called liver lobules. Anatomically, each liver lobe composed of hundreds of liver lobules are hepatic lobules. Liver lobules are hepatic lobules. So these lobules are hexagonal or pentagonal in shape. So externally, the liver is incompletely invested by a fold of peritoneum. Peritoneum is there ventrally. So this peritoneum covers the ventral part of the liver called tunica serosa. Beneath this, the liver is covered by a delicate connective tissue capsule called the Glissen's capsule. So below the peritoneum, connective tissue membrane is present. Tough, not tough, it is delicate. Connective tissue capsule is present called Glissen's capsule. Glissen's capsule. So Glissen's capsule is nothing but connective tissue, capsule present around the liver. It is not only surrounds the entire surface of the organ but also invades the gland to form framework and to divide the substance of the liver into number of lobules. So inside the liver lobules are present. Around each liver lobule, again Glissen's capsule is there. Glissen's capsule is there. Glissen's capsule is nothing but connective tissue capsule. Connective tissue capsule is not only present outside the lobules, liver lobes, and it's also present around the liver lobule. The Glissen's capsule thus surrounds every liver lobule completely in mammals like pig and camel. But in majority of mammals, including man, the covering is incomplete or very thin. Covering is incomplete or very thin. Very thin covering is there around each liver lobule. The connective tissue at the edge of a lobule forms a portal area. At the corner of each liver lobule, the triangular shaped portal area is formed, or portal triad. This is also called as portal triad, consisting of a branch of hepatic artery, portal vein, and bile duct. Here I will show you. See, look here. This is diagrammatic representation of liver lobule. So it is hexagonal in shape. Can you see? Hexagonal in shape. And externally, this is covered by thin Glissen's capsule. Thin Glissen's capsule. Okay. At each corner, triad is formed. And this is called portal triad. What is this? Portal triad. And this is what? Central canal. Central vein. This is what? Central vein. So from the central vein, the bile is moving towards the portal triad. Whereas to the central vein, blood is moving from the portal vein, portal artery, hepatic artery towards the central vein. So each portal triad is composed of bile duct, portal vein, hepatic artery. Bile duct, portal vein, hepatic artery. So from the hepatic artery, blood is supplied to central vein. Okay. From central vein, blood is moving towards, the bile is moving towards bile duct. Okay. So bile duct. So direction of blood flow it is and this is the direction of bile flow. So bile is secreted by the hepatic cords. So these are hepatic cells. Can you see here? These are hepatic cells. These hepatic cells produce bile, and that bile is moving towards the the bile duct. So bile duct, portal vein, and hepatic artery, all these three together form the portal triad. So this diagram is a diagrammatic presentation. Actual lobule would be like this. This is liver lobule. So this is portal area, central vein it is. These are hepatic cords. These are radiating from the central vein towards the Glissen's capsule. So here Glissen's capsule is present. Okay, portal area. This is triad, hepatic triad. Cords of liver. These are cords of liver. So between cords of liver, gaps are present. Can you see here gaps? So these gaps are sinusoids, liver sinusoids. Can you see here liver sinusoids? In this liver sinusoid, von Kupffer cells are there. Von Kupffer cells kill the pathogens that enter into the liver. They are killed by von Kupffer cells, central vein. This is the section of liver, human liver, seen under microscope. These are hepatic cords. Hepatic cords are branched. They are radiating from the central vein towards the Glissen's capsule. Okay. The connective tissue at the edge of lobule forms a portal area or portal triad consisting of a branch of hepatic artery, portal vein, and bile duct. Portal canals are gateways through which blood reaches the liver. Next, histological details. Microscopic examination of the liver tissue under low power magnification shows many small units called hepatic lobules. So hepatic lobules. So I have shown you one hepatic lobule. So this is hepatic lobule. Can you see? This is one hepatic lobule. Oh, this is one hepatic lobule. This is diagrammatic representation, hexagonal in shape. So like this, hundreds of liver lobules are present in each liver lobe. So they appear somewhat hexagonal. Each lobule is about 1 mm broad and 2 mm long. Each of these anatomical units has two main constituents, namely an epithelial parenchyma made up of hepatic cells and a system of anastomosing blood channels called sinusoids. So through the sinusoids, blood is moving towards the central vein. The hepatic cells are arranged in irregular branching interconnected plates called hepatic cords. They are arranged in a radiating fashion around a central vein alternating with sinusoids. The sinusoids coverage to the central vein of the lobule. So this is central vein, liver lobule. Hepatic cells. The hepatic cells make up the hepatic plates. The hepatic plates form the secretory parts of the liver. The hepatic cords extend outwards from the central vein and may branch before touching the peripheral part. The hepatic cells are relatively large and polyhedral in shape. Polyhedral in shape with sharply defined boundaries under normal conditions. Each hepatic cell has a central nucleus with a distinct nuclear membrane and one or more prominent nucleoli. So one cell, hepatic cell. So this is one hepatic cell. Can you see it? This squarish diagram is there. That is one cell, one hepatic cell. So this cell has nucleus, clear nucleus is present at the center. Okay, here you can see all these are hepatic cells. Hepatic cells are arranged in a cord, and these cords are branching. So suppose this is one cord, this has branched here. Can you see here? Before reaching the peripheral part of the lobule. Okay, so the hepatic cells are arranged in irregular branching in interconnected plates called hepatic cords. They are arranged in radiating fashion around a central vein, alternating with the sinusoids. The sinusoids converge the central vein of the lobule. So the sinusoids converge to the central vein. They converge. They move towards the central vein. So we are talking about, yes, hepatic cells. Sorry. They are polyhedral in shape with sharply defined boundaries under normal conditions. Each hepatic cell has a central nucleus with a distinct nuclear membrane and one or more prominent nucleoli. So nucleoli are there. Nuclei, why they are necessary? They are important for this production of ribosomes. The appearance of the cytoplasm is variable depending on the physiological state of the cell. Each cell has on the side adjacent to its neighboring cell a minute groove. Two such grooves oppose together to form a bile canaliculus. The cell membrane at this area has short microvilli projecting into the canaliculus. So the canaliculi are extremely small and are lined by cuboidal epithelium. Such small canaliculi unite to form bigger ducts lined by the high columnar epithelium. Electron microscope studies of the hepatic cell reveal the presence of filamentous or rod-like mitochondria scattered throughout the cytoplasm. They have mitochondria, rod-shaped mitochondria, Golgi apparatus situated adjacent to the bile canaliculi or near the nucleus, and a large amount of RNA in the form of small dense granules either associated with the endoplasmic reticulum or scattered throughout the cytoplasm matrix. Various kinds of other structures observed are the lysosomes, bile pigments, glycogen granules, and lipid granules. So these are the different structures present in each hepatic cell. Okay. So cytoplasm matrix has the lysosomes, mitochondria, bile pigments, glycogen granules, lipid granules. Next, sinusoids. The sinusoids separate the hepatic cords and converge radially into the central vein. So these are sinusoids. They converge the central vein, converge into the central vein. They all open into the central vein. Okay. They convey the blood from the interlobular branches of the portal vein to the central vein. The sinusoids have relatively wide lumen lined by the endothelium. Okay. So with a special staining technique, a type of cells called cells of von Kupffer can be seen. Von Kupffer cells. They are large stellate and pseudopodial branches. Each cell has large and more vesicular nucleus. The Kupffer cells are a part of the gland. They are the part of gland. They are phagocytic in nature. They are phagocytic, radially ingest foreign substances and thus free the bloodstream of foreign particles. Yes, if at all bloodstream is having foreign particles, such foreign particles are killed, taken up, engulfed by phagocytic cells. So these phagocytic cells are nothing but von Kupffer cells. So von Kupffer cells are present in the liver sinusoids, which kill the foreign bodies, foreign cells that come along the bloodstream. They also help in fat metabolism and in the formation of bile pigments. So next, blood capillaries. The hepatic portal vein forms interlobular vein at the surface of the lobules. These, after traversing through the lobules between hepatic strands, enter the sinusoids and empty into the interlobular veins, all of which join to form the hepatic vein. The blood capillaries supply blood to the hepatic cells. Blood capillaries supply blood to the hepatic cells. So hepatic cells have to be supplied with nutrients, then required substances. They are supplied by the blood. Nerve fibers and connective tissues. The hepatic cells are held together in a connective tissue fibers. The nerve fibers of sympathetic system are found scattered in the connective tissue mass. So connective tissue capsule is present around each liver lobule called Glissen's capsule. In this Glissen's capsule, the nerve fibers are there, nerve fibers of sympathetic nervous system. So sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system come under autonomic nervous system. They are functioning autonomously. They are not under our control. Our according to our desire, they do not work. They are controlled by central nervous system. Okay. So next, functions of liver. Hundreds of functions can be traced, but only few functions we have taken here for our discussion. So production of bile juice, which neutralizes the acidity of the chyme and helps in digestion. So chyme is coming from the stomach. It is rich in acid. It is in acidic medium. That acidic medium is converted into alkaline medium when the bile is mixed with food. So production of bile juice neutralizes the acidity of the chyme and helps in digestion. So production of the bile salts. Sodium tarcholate and sodium glycolate are the bile salts. These bile salts are essential for the emulsification of fats. Fat emulsification. Fat, droplets or globules are broken down into very small droplets of fat, which are essential for their complete digestion. So emulsification of fat is done by the salts present in bile. Stimulation of peristalsis and bowel movements is also caused by these two salts. Production of anticoagulant, heparin and other plasma proteins like prothrombin, fibrinogen and albumin. All these are produced by liver. Very important. Anticoagulant is important, you know it. Anticoagulant is necessary for removing coagulant, blood coagulant inside the blood vessels. That is the heparin. And other plasma proteins like prothrombin. Prothrombin is necessary for blood coagulation. Fibrinogen is also necessary for blood coagulation. Albumin. Albumin is a protein. It maintains osmotic potential, osmotic requirements of the body tissues. Then destruction of bacteria and worn out blood cells. So bacteria are destructed, killed, and worn out blood cells are also removed by the liver. Break down poisons or transform them into less harmful compounds. So detoxification is also done by liver. Poison is converted into less harmful compounds. So conversion of ammonia into urea. Ammonia is a very toxic substance, you know it. Ammonia is separated from amino acids. So when amino acids are not digested, if they are present in large quantity, they have to be excreted out. So that ammonia combines with the carbon dioxide to form urea. So that is done by liver through ornithine cycle. Ornithine cycle is there, which converts carbon dioxide and ammonia into urea, and this urea is separated from the blood with the help of kidney. So conversion of excess of sugar into glycogen or fat. If at all blood has excess quantity of sugar, that sugar is converted into glycogen, either glycogen or fat. So glycogen is polysaccharide. Fat is you know it is composed of fatty acids and glycerol. Fat is also rich in energy. Glycogen is also rich in energy. So energy rich respiratory substrates, these two are. Conversion of glycogen, fat and proteins into glucose. Whenever body is not having sufficient amount of sugar in its blood, the stored glycogen is converted into glucose, stored fat is converted into glucose, proteins are converted into glucose. That is done by liver. So storage of glycogen is done by this liver. See, excess amount of sugar is converted into glycogen, and this glycogen is stored in our body either in liver or in muscles, So copper is also stored in the liver, iron is also stored, and the fat soluble vitamins like A, D, E and K, these are also stored in the liver. So it activates vitamin D. Vitamin D is activated. Vitamin D is essential for the metabolism of calcium, immunity, for strength. Vitamin D is necessary. So vitamin D activation is done by liver. So these are few functions of liver. So at the end of this chapter, we can come to the assignments. What is Glison's capsule? What is liver lobule? Write the names of 4 lobes of liver. Draw a label diagram of liver lobule. I have shown you the structure of liver lobule. That diagram you have to draw. Okay, thank you.